In the quiet, forgotten village of Willowbrook, there lived a young man named Aaron. He was, by all accounts, ordinary. He had no special talent that made him stand out, no great wealth to speak of, and no powerful family to lean on. The villagers often remarked, Aaron is a kind soul, but kindness doesn't change your fate. His days were a repeating cycle of monotony. He would rise before the sun, work tirelessly as a helper in a small, dusty shop, and return home with weary bones. At night, he'd find himself staring up at the vast, star-filled sky, whispering a question into the darkness. Is this all my life will ever be? Just this. One evening, a fierce storm descended upon Willowbrook. The wind howled and rain lashed down in unforgiving sheets. Through the downpour, Aaron spotted a figure huddled beneath the sprawling branches of the old village banyan tree. It was an old man, looking frail and lost, soaked to the bone. Please. The stranger's voice was barely a whisper above the storm. May I rest for a while? Without a second thought, Aaron led the man to his own humble shelter. He shared what little he had, a warm blanket and a simple meal of bread and soup. The old man looked at him, a gentle smile gracing his wrinkled face. You have so little, he observed softly, yet you gave it all without asking for anything in return. As the storm began to subside, the stranger prepared to leave. Before he stepped back into the misty night, he handed Aaron a small, intricately carved wooden box. It pulsed with a faint, otherworldly glow. This is a gift, the old man said, his voice now filled with a strange gravity. But remember, this magic does not change who you are. It reveals who you truly are. And just like that, before Aaron could utter a single question, the old man vanished into the rain as if he were never there. Back inside, with the rain now a gentle patter on his roof, curiosity gnawed at Aaron. He couldn't resist. He sat down and carefully opened the box. Instantly, a warm, golden light burst forth, so bright it filled the entire room. It swirled and danced before wrapping itself around his hands, sinking into his skin. Aaron felt a strange, tingling sensation, a current of energy he'd never known. The next morning, a feeling of disbelief still lingering, he decided to test it. He saw a farmer struggling with a cart, its wheel shattered. Closing his eyes, Aaron focused, wishing with all his heart for the cart to be fixed. When he opened them, the wheel was whole, as if it had never been broken. Later, he saw a neighbor's child, sick with fever. He knelt by her side and wished for her to feel better. A moment later, the little girl's eyes fluttered open, and a weak but genuine smile spread across her face as she sat up. Word of Aaron's incredible deeds spread through Willowbrook like wildfire. The villagers, once dismissive, now looked at him with awe and reverence. He is magic, they whispered. He must be chosen by the heavens. For the very first time in his life, Aaron felt important. He felt powerful. At first, he used this newfound gift with a pure heart. He mended broken fences for farmers, healed the sick who couldn't afford a doctor, and repaired homes damaged by the storm. He was a beacon of hope for his village. But slowly, subtly, a change began to creep into his heart. The whispers of awe turned into bows of respect. People started bringing him gifts, offering money for his favors. They pleaded with him, not as a kind neighbor, but as a mighty sorcerer. Aaron started to think, why should I struggle anymore? I have this power. I deserve more than this simple life. He wished for a grander house, and it appeared. He wished for chests of gold, and they materialized. He wished for the respect and fear of others, and they gave it to him. But with each selfish wish, something alarming happened. The brilliant golden glow that once shone from his hands grew dimmer, more subdued. One night, the old stranger returned, not in person, but in a dream. His face was stern, his voice echoing with disappointment. Magic fades when kindness fades, he warned. The gift was never yours to keep. It is borrowed, a test. Aaron awoke with a jolt, but his fear was quickly replaced by anger and pride. It's my power now, he muttered to himself, dismissing the dream. I control my own fate. The very next day, a poor woman, her clothes tattered and her face etched with desperation, came begging. Please, sir, she cried. My husband is gravely ill. Can you help him? Aaron looked down at her worn-out shoes and pleading eyes, and felt a flicker of annoyance. I'm busy, he said coldly, turning his back on her. Come back another time. At that exact moment, he felt a sudden emptiness in his hands. He looked down. The last faint glimmer of the golden light had vanished completely. Panic seized him. A cold dread washed over him as he realized what had happened. He tried to wish for a simple flower, for a single coin, but nothing happened. The magic was gone. The whispers in the village changed once more. He's powerless now, they said. They're all replaced with scorn. He was never special after all. The people who had once praised him now avoided his gaze. One by one, they left him, and the grand house he had wished for felt cold and empty. Aaron was alone again, but this time the loneliness was heavier, weighed down by the crushing burden of regret. He stumbled back to the old banyan tree, the place where it all began. He clutched the now ordinary wooden box, and as tears of sorrow and shame streamed down his face, he cried out to the empty air, I forgot who I was. As the first light of dawn painted the sky in shades of pink and orange, the old stranger appeared one last time. He stood before the weeping Aaron, his expression not of anger, but of sad understanding. You were given magic, he said gently, not to change the world, but to change yourself. Aaron fell to his knees, the empty box slipping from his grasp. I don't want the power anymore, he choked out, his voice thick with remorse. I just want to be worthy of the kindness I was shown. The old stranger offered a final, knowing smile, and then he and the wooden box dissolved into the morning mist, turning to dust that was carried away by the wind. Aaron returned to his old life, but he was not the same man. He was no longer ordinary Aaron. He worked in the shop, but now he helped his neighbors without the aid of magic. He gave what little he had without expecting any reward. He learned to listen, to comfort, and to lead with his heart. And a strange thing happened. The villagers, seeing his genuine change, began to trust him again. They started to respect him, not for any power he possessed, but for the strength of his character. They began to follow him, not out of fear, but out of admiration. Years passed, and Aaron, the boy who once wished for a different fate, became the beloved leader of his village. One evening, he stood under the banyan tree, looking up at the same stars he had questioned so long ago. A peaceful smile touched his lips. "My fate did change," he whispered to the night sky. "Not because of magic, but because I did." The true magic, he finally understood, wasn't the power to move mountains or conjure gold. It was the quiet strength found in kindness, humility, and the simple choices we make every single day. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales that touch the heart.